when the time for interview comes,
Yeah.
if you go to Glassdoor, on Glassdoor, you have people that share their interview experience. Hello, guys. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you for always watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sharing. So today we have a very interesting topic to discuss, and that is essentially about how we got our jobs in Canada. Yep. So today's discussion, I will talk about how I got my job, and she will talk about how she got her job, and our learnings and what you can pick from it, and how you can go about using the strategies that we used if it will work for you in getting your own job in Canada as well. So, probably do you want to go first? You want to tell us how you got your job in Canada, how you went about it, and your experience?
Okay, yeah. So, pretty much how I got my job in Canada. Of course, getting a job in Canada was one of the most important things that we had on our to-do list.
Of course.
Coming from Nigeria,
Absolutely.
because I mean, you're coming to a country and source of income is very important, especially in a country like this where you need to pay bills. Right?
On a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So it was really important. And the moment we knew that we were staying in Canada, what we did or what I did was I started applying rigorously. I started applying back to back to back to back. It was a whole lot of application a day, every single day. And I feel more comfortable using my mobile, my phone, to do the application. And I will sit down and I'm applying so much. The particular engine that I used was Indeed.com.
Yeah, Indeed. Yeah.
That one really worked for me. I tried using LinkedIn as well, but LinkedIn didn't
I think LinkedIn worked for me much more than it did for you.
But Indeed.com really was actually what worked for me. And then because I have experience back in Nigeria, I was a relationship manager in an asset management firm. So and again, when you come to a country like this, you realize that this experience that you have actually, tallies a lot with customer service, right? Because I mean, relationship manager, the bulk of what you do is around customer service.
Absolutely.
And customer service is one of the jobs that is actually relatively easy to get here in Canada. So I just have to do a bit of tweaking of my CV. That is actually very important. You want to apply to jobs and you look at what the job
description
is, and then you try to tailor your CV. And I did a lot of that. I will sit down and I'm doing that with the jobs that I'm seeing, and I'm applying. Now, Indeed.com also has this, maybe what is equivalent to Easy Apply on LinkedIn, where you create a profile, you your latest CV, and you just in a click.
Three clicks or thereabouts.
Yeah, you've applied to the job. So that was basically what I did. And of course, the interviews started rolling in. And I did quite a whole number of interviews. Of course, I had a lot of no's. I had a lot of no's, which is normal.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I didn't allow that to affect me. And then the interviews kept coming in, and yeah, I did a whole lot of interview, and I started with my very first job sometime around March. Now I had it in mind that I wanted to start, my job in March because there was something I was working towards, and good for me. God really helped me anyway, and I started that job around that period. So that was when I got my first offer, and because I had done a lot of interview in the past, I was still doing more interview while I was on the first job, and I did that, and again more offers started coming in to the extent that I literally got about 4 offers in 1 month.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
4 offers in 1 month.
Yep.
And I started one, and then when the next one will come in, I would look at the advantages and disadvantages. Because the very first one I started, was during the heart of winter. It was in the heart of winter, and I was on site.
It was not funny at
It
all.
wasn't funny, and I would need to go to
The weather
work.
was so cold.
It was so cold, and I would just wear my jacket, my winter boots, and everything. I'd be looking like a ski early in the morning, and I had to go to work and all that.
Yep.
So when the next one came in, it was
a
work
remote,
from home.
yeah.
It was work from home, so I started doing that. And along the line, another offer came, and then this particular one, I really wanted to work there because it was an offer from one of the most popular airlines
Airlines,
here
yep.
in the US and in Canada. I really wanted that, but again, another offer came in.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it like, okay, I think even though this one is like one of the most important airlines, popular airlines
Yeah.
in the US and in Canada, this other offer that I have, the benefits are a lot
Yeah,
more and all
that's
that.
why a lot of times you don't look at maybe the pay
Yeah,
alone.
you don't look at the pay
You
alone
look at the
or the name
benefits.
alone
You look at the maybe one has time off more than the
more
other.
than the other,
One is easier to do. Yeah, a
than
lot
the
of things to
other,
look at
right?
actually.
So
Yeah.
I did all of that and eventually I, went for. So I eventually declined the one from that particular airline. Anyway, so pretty much that's actually how I got my job in Canada. It was like a whole lot of applying, and Indeed.com was actually the tool that really worked for me. I would apply on a daily basis to hundreds of jobs. Like
Mm-hmm.
my email has never been so full of interview requests the
Yeah,
way it
and I
was
remember that a
that
lot of
period.
those
The way it
interviews used to
was.
clash.
Yes, and they
You
would
know,
clash and
the
they were
timing
like
would clash. Then you have to reschedule and
reschedule.
stuff like
And
that.
the
Yeah.
calendar was so full. Like I've never been that busy before
Yeah,
in my
actually, I remember,
entire life.
we were
Like
just always in the living room, or one person would be in the
in
other
the
room
other
doing
room.
the interview,
Yeah.
and we always look as if we had a job because morning to
Yes.
evening we were always there,
We're always there.
either applying or
Or
or doing
interview
interviews.
or
Yeah,
so pretty much that's actually how I got my job here in Canada. So do you want to tell us how you
sure.
got yours?
Yeah, so mine to follow the similar step or a similar pattern. What happened was when we first arrived, for me, my experience back home was as a market researcher and I was in a managerial role, you know. And when I arrived, of course, I wanted a managerial role as well. But
Yeah.
notwithstanding, I was like, look, in this country, the bills always come in every month,
Yeah.
and there are bills to pay. So I started applying to jobs, but I didn't focus on only managerial roles. I applied to junior roles as well. I applied to entry level roles. I even applied to customer service roles.
Yes.
And why I did that is because some of my experience, like my very first job, I was an e-commerce officer, so I had a little bit of customer experience in that regard. So I had to amplify that and tweak my CV. I started applying. But however, I didn't tweak my CV early on.
And yes.
I didn't tweak it very well.
Very
I
well.
tweaked it, but I didn't tweak it very well. So as we were both applying to customer service roles, I was not getting any interview.
And I was getting all the
I was like, what's going on? I didn't get.
But I think because
I was probably applying more than him. I wasn't getting
yeah, but
interviews. Yeah.
on the CV, I think you probably looked as if you were like overqualified.
Yeah, I was overqualified.
for
Even
the
though I
job.
tweaked it, but I didn't tweak it very well. So I know, okay, well done.
Yeah,
So I have
so
to
that's
bring
also something.
down a lot of. I removed a lot of high sounding rules and whatnot. I just removed
And they must
everything.
have just been
I
looking
made it
like,
as low as possible.
who is this person?
Yeah.
Who is this manager that wants to come and be attending?
Exactly. So and by so doing, I started having interviews as
Yeah.
well. And in fact, I remember just to say, I even applied to maybe blue collar jobs or survival jobs.
Yeah.
And why I did that was for two reasons. Number one, bills. Number two, Canadian experience. Because in this country, they always talk about Canadian experience. If an employer doesn't want to employ you, or if you are an equal match, so to say, with somebody who has Canadian experience, they might want to go for the person that has Canadian experience. So Canadian experience is also very key. So I applied to even small jobs, very small jobs. I even applied to FedEx warehouse. I applied to those jobs. I was ready to do them, but fortunately for me, I didn't have to do those jobs because my very first job was the customer service role. And like she said, customer service jobs, that's one of the quick wins that we discovered in this country. There are a number of big firms who are worldwide, people outsource customer service jobs to them, and they're always recruiting. So if you're looking for a quick win job and you do not mind, you can do a customer service job. However, I did that for only 3 weeks. And one of the interviews I had done in the past, which was in my role, a managerial role, they came calling. And of course, I was very happy. And that was my second job, right? That was my second job. Yeah. Before, funny enough, I did a lot of interviews then, like I mentioned. Then after I got that job, another company then came calling again. They were like, oh, I know we know you applied a long time ago, but the role is still open. There was an hiring freeze, blah blah blah. Are you still interested? And of course, it was better than the managerial role I
That you
had.
had,
It
yeah.
was even a senior managerial role, and I took it. So that is how we were able to get our jobs.
Get our
Now
jobs
I
in
use
Canada.
LinkedIn more. She
Yeah,
was
I
using
use
Indeed.
Indeed more.
I use LinkedIn more. I use Indeed as well. In fact, I got the customer service job through
From
Indeed.
yeah,
Through
yeah,
Indeed,
through
yeah.
Indeed, yes,
Through Indeed.
actually,
But I
through
discovered
Indeed.
that, yeah. Then I use Glassdoor as well. So one of the things I use Glassdoor for, which she also did,
Yes.
is when the time for interview comes,
Yeah.
if you go to Glassdoor, on Glassdoor you have people that share their interview experience.
With the company that you have
Exactly.
interview with.
Yeah.
So you can get like questions, their experience. Because I remember for one of those offers or one of those interviews, I'd gone on Glassdoor to check,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily for me, in the interview, I was asked the same question that I had seen on Glassdoor. So it was
Yeah.
easy for me to sail through that question because I just looked at what the respondents, that's the interviewer, the interviewee, and what the person said, how he answered, what he thought he wanted to hear,
Yep.
and I just followed through that. I mean,
Yeah.
it
So
was
Glassdoor is very, very useful. People share their experience about the questions and all that. So just to recap everything that we've been talking about.
yeah,
Number one, you have to be persistent, you have to be dogged, you have to be
very
determined.
important.
Then number two, if you're not a very choosy person, you'll be able to get a whole lot of jobs. There are a lot of
Yes.
customer service jobs that you can start with,
Yeah.
and that would give you the added advantage of having Canadian experience on your CV.
Yes,
Because in
very
this
important.
country,
Canadian experience
sometimes
is very
they will
important.
disqualify you even
Just
if you've
because
gone
you
very
don't
far,
have
just because you don't have
that
Canadian
Canadian
experience. Yeah.
experience.
For instance, if you and one other person enter the finals, right, and the other person has Canadian experience, and that's the only thing the person is, having that is better than
like
you.
an advantage.
Exactly. So they will choose the person over you
yeah.
most
So
likely. So that's the other
that's
thing.
there.
Consider
And
going for
then-
jobs that are a little bit lower, at least at the onset.
At the onset.
Yeah.
At the onset, a little bit lower.
Exactly.
At the onset, whilst you're still applying to those ones that you
really want.
really want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then again, okay.
That's that. And again, just like Indeed worked well for me,
Yep.
LinkedIn worked well for him.
Absolutely.
I had a profile on LinkedIn as well, but I just realized I wasn't seeing the result from LinkedIn. He had a profile on Indeed,
Yep.
and Indeed just wasn't bringing out, what
Even
he
though I got
wanted.
my
Even though
customer
he got the
service
customer
job
service jobs from Indeed, but
from
the
Indeed,
jobs
yeah,
like he
yeah.
really wanted,
Was-
Indeed
they
wasn't.
were on
They were
LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
The ones I wanted was on Indeed.
Yeah.
So again, you can have profiles across all forms of search,
Including Glassdoor.
including Glassdoor, and just create profiles everywhere. One would definitely work for you.
Yeah, just as you said, on Glassdoor again, you can go there to check about the past interviews that
Yes,
people
past interview,
have
yeah.
done in those organizations. Then in addition to that, just try and make sure that you do a little bit of research about the person that wants to interview you. Once the person sends you a mail, you can go on LinkedIn, look
And
at the
check them out.
person's experience,
Yeah.
what the person knows about their strengths, so that you don't play into their hands.
Yes.
You know how to direct your discussion.
Yeah.
Any other thing that I've
Yeah,
not
so I
mentioned
think
yet?
those are the things that we actually did, and that was actually how we were able to get our good paying jobs here in Canada. That's
Yep.
how we were able to sail through the interview. Again, a lot of all these jobs might have like very long interview processes, like our first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, and yeah,
Especially
that's
for
how we
the
went for the
roles that
yeah, for the because I think
maybe
one thing-
senior
yeah, all the
managerial
senior
positions,
positions
yeah.
would have like couple of stages, and that's basically the steps that we took, and that's how we were able to sail through and how we were able to land our jobs in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so just to on a final note, again, we just like to put it here to say, because I know that a lot of people usually say there's no job in Canada. Should I leave my job in Nigeria? There are actually jobs in Canada.
There are jobs in
There are
Canada.
jobs in Canada,
I beg to
blue collar
differ.
jobs, white collar
Unpopular
jobs,
opinion,
all kinds
I beg
of
to
jobs
differ.
are
There are
in
jobs in
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Because if you put in a keyword, like you are searching for a job, let's say customer service or research manager, if you put it in LinkedIn in Canada, the results you will get
will be more than
you will
what you're
be,
going
you will
to
be
get.
blown.
Yeah.
But back home, if you put that in LinkedIn and you search for it, you probably will see only 3 results.
Only very
I've
few
done it,
results.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
And for that 3 results, maybe 500,000 of you are applying.
Yeah, so pretty much
So,
that's it.
there are jobs in Canada,
It's
yeah.
just that you also have to do your part, apply, do your interview, prepare, upgrade yourself, develop yourself and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, so that's pretty much how we got our jobs.
Then don't be choosy. You can start with a smaller role.
Exactly.
And you move upwards from there.
Especially for that Canadian experience,
Yeah,
which is
don't be
something
choosy.
that is very important here.
It will really help you in your next application. So
Definitely.
that will be all, guys. Thank you for listening today.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Also, again, like we always say, do not forget to do what?
To like,
Share, and
subscribe.
Alright, guys. We'll see you again in our next video. Bye.
Bye.